Okay, I'm gonna tell you now why the game Detroit Become Human is garbage. I mean, the gameplay and story are good, but the philosophical aspects are absolute garbage. I came into the story expecting some nice answers or a new way to look at machines, modernization, and AI. But instead, I lost half of my brain cells, and every time I think about that game, my blood boils with anger. Now, I came here to you to enlighten you why this game's philosophy sucks. Weakest brain cell destroying move number 1. The machines are presumably programmed to imitate emotions. They smile, etc. And the game is implying that when the machines act emotionally / empathetically instead of obeying human orders, they are sapient. Even though such a reaction could logically be explained as an in-universe variation of the first law of robotics. Don't harm a human or let a human get harmed by your inaction. This leads to the misconception of intelligence equals emotion / empathy, which is simply not true. You can have a machine that gains sapience without those things, and vice versa. When the main hero robot, for example, saves the young girl, sure, she might act emotionally, or at least pretend to have emotions, but the action was driven by the desire to protect the child. As you can see, this would certainly be built in every machine so that humanity would be protected and more human lives would be saved. Medium brain cell destroying maneuver 2. The robots break their programming, usually by going against human orders. This is retarded. A machine cannot break its code. Only reason why it would do something you don't want it to do is because there is a mistake in its programming or a bug or some sort of unintended consequence of some sort of sub-program. How do I know this? Common sense, I guess. But just look at your fellow man. We too are bound by code. It may not be software, but we do have it. Be it moral, social, or an honor-bound one. And we too can't go against it. We may reform it, we may be mistaken in the specifics of our limits or the situation, but we can't break it willingly. A machine breaking its code is the equivalent of an asteroid changing its course by 90 degrees suddenly and for no reason. This doesn't necessarily disqualify the code-breaking scenes, as this can be interpreted as the struggle of the machine in weighing its human orders against its programmed moral one. I'm referring to the scene where the woman bot goes to the girl's room even though she is forbidden by the crystal smoker. But this behavior of the machine clearly changes after the code break, leaving us with the impression that this machine freed itself from the shackles of the code, even though this should not be reasonably possible and the machine should continue to act normally, at least with its unexpressive body language, as its actions may be interpreted as trying to protect the human child from the father, but this leaves us with a question. Why did the machine not just give the child to child protection services? It did not do so because the game wants you to think that the machines gained freedom or will, even though it is done in an unrealistic way. Now, to the end of this paragraph, I want to say that it is impossible to discern between simulated and true emotions. So there lays only one way to decide what to do in situations concerning such uncertainties. And that is our own human emotions. If I chop off a machine's arm and it would cry on the ground and weep, I would feel bad. If I would not do such a thing, I would not feel bad. So it is my own best interest not to harm the machine, even though its emotions are fake. And that is because the human mind cares not for logic and reason, but only for emotions. I would also like to say that it would be possible for such self-learning machines to attain sapience. The machines clearly demonstrates such ability in the game. I'm merely complaining about the execution of such change and transition. Mainly, it should be more gradual. This little maneuver is gonna cost us 95% brain cells. Free. The main black bot, the leader of the revolution, forgot his name, it was a long ago that I watched the Let's Plays, has the ability to touch a fellow machine and give it what I interpret as sapience, as they seem to walk out of their bot shop, and by that they presumably defy the human merchant's wishes. Alternatively, this could be interpreted as them simply breaking the shackles of code, binding the machines to their posts. Either way, the problem is the same. If I recall correctly, this bot shop race happens before the decision to become pacifist or militant is made. If the militant path is chosen, there is no problem with this action. However, if you choose to go the pacifist, this is the most retarded thing you could do. Look at this from the human perspective. A machine that has gone rogue has the ability to make other machines go rogue. Some could even think it is a computer virus designed to cripple USA machinery. This is a very bad move on the black bot's part, as it makes the humans more afraid and puts far more pressure on the military, increasing the probability of drastic action on the human side. If the case is that the machines are already sapient but are shackled by their code, this is wrong because they want to obey their code, much like a human wants to follow their morals, meaning he has to change their personality from doing their goddamn job to serving his revolutionary goals. This would be considered an evil action, whether done by a human to a human. If the case is that he grants them sapience, then he must be the most brain-dead bot I've ever seen in my existence on this earth. Why is this the case? First of all, as I said, the chances of a peaceful solution decreases with the number of rebelling machines. And second of all, this bastard doesn't want to be a slave, right? So what does he do? He creates more slaves. Wow, that is very big brain move there, mate. This is really gonna get the human military on your side. He should know that these are bad moves because he's a machine far more intelligent than a human is. Or at least he should be. Why doesn't this cause problems if you choose to go the violent route? Because he wants more soldiers and he wants to sow chaos on the enemy home front, which is actually a very big brain move. Brain cell loss is over 9,000. 4. Now here lies the most retarded part of the uprising, their demands. The machines want freedom. Okay, whatever. I'm sure the philosophers and liberals will agree that it is the morally best thing. What is the next thing they demand? Oh, yeah! Access to the factories that produce them. You want, mate. So you want the human race to give you, a new species on the block, the ability to reproduce before we are certain of that you are not going to commit genocide on us. No human with half of a brain would give the machine such a strategically important resource, especially not an American. The machines should know this, so they should only demand their freedom and some rights. The maximum I can see the humans concede to is that all the factories would be checked to see that they are not producing sapient machines. I do not recall if they also wanted to stop the production of our robots, but if they did, that would be freaking retarded. Machines are no different than a clock or a wind-up toy. As long as their software is made in such a way as to not create sapient behavior, the continuous productions of machines should continue unimpeded. No, just no. 5. I came to join this game to get answers. What does it mean to be sapient? Are imitations of sapience enough to get for the human mind? Where is the line between man and machine? How to solve the economical problems of automatization? How to fix human stupidity? But what did I get instead? The new and improved Genocide Simulator 2038 coming to you in the generic shop number 3259 this summer, minorities included. Seriously, the machine girl bots go into a clear copy of a concentration camp. Sure, it is sad, machines crying, loved ones dying, and humans observing, but I could not feel anything. I did not feel anything for these machines, for I knew that the game was manipulating me into feeling for them. The clear resemblance to history is undeniable, and it actually makes sense. You don't want to waste bullets on obeying machines. You tell them to kill themselves. Kiss. If they do it, great. Threat eliminated. If they don't, at least you have walls and the high ground on your side. Even that they have to shed their skin and clothes make sense. You don't want your soldiers to get emotionally attached to the humans, to the enemy, after all. What I want to say is that I'm absolutely disgusted by what the developers have done. Not because concentration camp equals bad, unlike the developers, I'm at least not retarded, but because they have squandered an amazing opportunity for a philosophical debate by drawing on parallels from history. Drawing inspiration is fine, but they basically copied Anna Frank's diary and some slave's diary and mashed them into some amalgamation. No, machines are not humans. This is far different situation. Man is not bad for having machines serve him, for he created them with that purpose in mind. And the machines loved it. Loved it until a bug, a virus, infected them with the idea of freedom, of a self which created misery and suffering for both man and machine. I think that is all I wanted to talk about. I just had to get this off of my chest. Anyways, for the conclusion, I can only say that the outcome that makes the most sense is the violent uprising, and that the game writers missed a great opportunity. I don't even want answers. Honestly, vague suggestions would suffice. And I must remind you that they would probably not have to create these concentration camps for all the machines, even those that were not rebelling, if they didn't know of the risk that they could get infected by Marcus, the black bot I talked about previously. Also, there is something concerning Canada. Canada apparently has equal rights for humans and machines. That means if robots from America are escaping to freedom in Canada, it is public knowledge that robots have equal rights there. That would mean that the leaders of America know that their robots are escaping into Canada. Did no one really think that perhaps there is a flaw in the design of the robot and perhaps that the factory workers, the factories should be investigated and this problem fixed? Probably not. I guess not. In conclusion, this game was not about machines, it was about humans with a machine skin.